Hey guys, welcome back to the Gonk Gang video. Sam here, and this week we're going to be looking at Talzin Yellow. So this is a new interesting spin on the Talzin deck that we've seen have some success, but this time we're using yellow instead of red. We're now in a post-force throw world. It's now banned in standard, so I think it's time to try some different stuff with Talzin. I know that was her main play in Force Lightning, but maybe yellow is the new way to go. We get access to some real strong cards such as Shin Hati, as she has hidden, force trait, shielded on turn 2. And also we get lots of nice finishes like surprise strikes, hot shot blasters, and a nice little combo that enables Anakin with bamboozle. So let's look at our early game. We've got the classic Director Krennic package, a real favourite of mine, where he makes sure when defeated cost one less. So we can play Director Krennic on turn 1, and then we have 6 additional cards, 3 copies of Greedo and 3 copies of Owen to play alongside him, which protects us against Power of the Dark Side, but also gets us off to a really aggressive start with Greedo, or Owen acts as nice ablative health on the board to soak up some indirect and draw us into our big force cards. Obviously, Krennic also a 2-2 shielded, just a real nice stat line these days. It doesn't die to turn 1 Tarkin time. So we also have the additional Karis, who is a great force unit. She can trade up into some big units. She can shrink them later with her -2/-2 ability, and also a 2/4 force unit is just real strong. We've got 2 copies of the Night Sister Warrior, just because we didn't need too many more drops, but it is another when defeated effect that works nicely with the Krennic reduction, and also she has the force trait and just helps us cycle through our deck a bit quicker. And then finally, Secretive Sage, basically just a slightly worse Director Krennic, but does give us the Force, so we can use our ability earlier. A big part of this deck is getting the Force early and making sure that we can keep it rolling. So next of all, we go into our mid-game threats. We've got another when defeated card. We've got the P-38 Starfighter, our only space unit in this deck. Admittedly, this deck is weak to space, but that's many Force decks. Ships don't generate the Force, so we have to make some sacrifices somewhere. So we've gone for the P-38. It helps us ping, which can help us rack up the damage with our -1 and take a threat out, and also it can cost 2 from Krennic, which is a nice little addition. As we said before, we've got Shin Hati, who's a real nice little card. She hasn't seen a ton of play, but that's because Yellow Force hasn't really taken off. But a 4/2 shielded hidden force trait is a crazy statted card. It's so strong. I've really enjoyed this card. It survives a lot. It works great with your surprise strikes and stuff to hit from hidden. Just works really nice. And then of course we've got classic 3 copies of Power of the Dark Side. You can't not have this in a blue villain deck. And finally we've got what I like to say are some of the strongest 4-drops in the game right now. 3 copies of Tyrannus, who is a 4/3 ambush if we have the Force and shielded. Real strong, can come in. It can even do it where it kills like a 2-attack unit and then shields up, and then you got a 4/1 shielded. He can even get the Force back for your next turn. And then of course Talzin's Assassin works real nice with this deck for the more shrinking powers, -3/-3, and then an additional one from Talzin, and then even on a flip turn you can do -5/-5, which is crazy if you stack it all up. Just some real strong 4-drops, and in fact we've had to move some additional 4-drops to the sideboard due to how many we were running. They were just a bit too stacked. So that's our nice mid-game board. I think that's where this deck really excels. And then we have what I like to call here the Anakin package. So obviously Anakin requires a heroic card and a villainous card to be in your discard pile to access his double -3. So we're running 2 copies of Bamboozle, which you can play for free by discarding an additional yellow card. So that means that we can get around the aspect penalty and trigger our Anakin for -6/-6, which feels absolutely crazy, as I'm sure if you've played this card. -6/-6 just feels absolutely bonkers on a 5/7 force body. So that's a nice combo we like to throw into this deck. And then finally, we've got what I like to say are our finishes. So we've got the 3 copies of Hot Shot Blasters for additional damage to base. Surprise Strike, same deal, just from hand, +3. And then we've got some of our chunkier threats. We've got Ki-Adi-Mundi, who's a 5/7 force unit. And also, I often find he does draw you some cards in this deck because this deck goes quite wide with its Krennic, and swarming out with Greedo, Owen, and all the when defeateds. Often you do have Coordinate online, and also he's just a chunky 5/7 force unit that they have to answer, or you're going to draw some additional cards and build up your board again. We then have 2 copies of Liberated by Darkness, another cool force card which has seen very little play. But obviously this deck can utilise it quite well. It's essentially Change Your Heart, but just for 5. You get to take control of a unit for the turn, but you do have to spend the Force, so it can feel a little bit dead sometimes, but when you pull it off, doing it for 5, see, it feels real nice, especially on a big unit to finish the game. And then finally we're running just 2 copies of the Sun, who is just a massive late game threat. At 6/8, if you've got the Force, he's an 8/8, and he gives all your other units +2 attack, just absolutely slamming down and deal a ton of damage. So We'll move on to the sideboard quickly here. It's a bit of a work in progress, but some stuff I've enjoyed are Spark of Rebellion. Got 2 copies of that, so it is out of aspect. We do have to pay the full 4 here, but against control decks, it feels real nice. You get to rip out the super laser blasts and the things that might cause you some problems, even the Anakins, and also it's another way to enable our Anakin as it's a heroic card. We've got 2 copies of Constructed Lightsaber. Obviously, that gives us mainly in this deck +2, +3, and then additional raid 2 on our units, so they can hit for 4/3 off a 3-cost upgrade. It's real nice to slap on Talzin, especially against decks that can't clear things very easily. You know, against non-blue decks, maybe red decks, green decks. You know, I like to bring this in just for additional pressure. Also, we do have a few neutral force units, such as Secretive Sage, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and the Night Sister Warrior, so it gives us access to Sentinel, which feels real nice, in a deck that doesn't have many Sentinel options. Next, we've got Outmaneuver. I know I said a little bit weak to space, but obviously we need some answers, so I put in 2 copies of Outmaneuver to exhaust the space arena for those Vaders or those Boba decks. While we dominate the ground, and hopefully an outmaneuver is just enough tempo for us to finish the game, as usually we want to finish the game faster than those decks. Next, we've got 2 copies of Chirrut, another 4-drop I really wanted to put in the deck because he just feels so strong in some situations. He feels kind of unkillable, I swear. But we already have just such premier 4-drops in this deck that he had to go to the sideboard, but I think against stuff like Sabine, and other decks that struggle to get through, he's real strong. He's a real roadblock on the ground arena. And then finally, 2 copies of Cad Bane, the Hostage Taker, just for those mid-game battle decks, like, you know, if we wanted to go a little bit longer than we normally do, he can help us clear out the space arena as well, and plus he just hits like an absolute ton. He hits for 7, and just a real nice mid-game piece for us to finish a game with. So, I'll move quickly on to my top 5 tips for the deck. So tip 1 would be you need to get the Force early and you need to keep it. You want to play down a Force unit nice and early, Karis, Night Sister Warrior, Secretive Sage, keep attacking, keep getting the Force back, use your -1 to leverage really nice trades. You know, play down these sticky cards, Shin Hati, shielded, you know, Secretive Sage, shielded, Night Sister Warrior, they don't really want to kill that, you draw a card. You know, these keep your Force online. My next tip is that your most important turns are turn 3 into turn 4. You know, obviously I said we've got real strong cards like Tyrannus and Talzin's Assassin to keep up the pressure, keep their board clear, keep you pushing damage to base. You know, it plays a little bit like a Cad Bane Tarkin Town. You kill their stuff, you push damage to base, and hopefully you're just too far ahead by the time they start doing their big plays. And of course, if they can clear the way for an even bigger Mother Talzin turn where you get her out quicker with a Hotshot Blaster, she's a 5/7, she might even kill a threat on the way out. She's real strong. 3 and 4 are your most important turns. Nextly, you need to enable Anakin. Obviously that's Bamboozle in the main deck and then Spark in the sideboard. If you even enable it, even when it's not the most efficient, Anakin is so strong that he can catch you back up. A -6, -6 or a -3 twice can really get you back in the game, even if you had to discard additional cards to Bamboozle. But also Bamboozle is just great against those upgrade heavy decks and those pilot heavy decks. So yeah, get him enabled and take full advantage. Next tip is swarm the opponent. You want to go wide and you want to finish games. Control the board where you can, but push for damage when possible. This deck does struggle in the later game. You know, if you're going against those strong decks after a Super Laser Blast, you may struggle to rebuild. So swarm out early, push damage to base where you can, but keep their board clear. That's what this deck really excels at. And then finally, not so much a tip, more a question to you guys is, think about how this deck could be taken differently. I really wanted to include Xi'an Flurry in this deck, and also the new Vader, Twilight of the Apprentice, to give him ambush. It's definitely a way you could take the deck, and I do think Xi'an Flurry might have a place somewhere, especially with cards like Ki-Adi-Mundi and Anakin can real big threats in, and you can clear their threats even more. It really fits the theme of the deck, but I just couldn't quite fit it in this version. And I do think if you're running Xi'an Flurry, you also want to fit in Vader, so let me know if you give that a try, and maybe give me some feedback in the comments if you think that's worth adding into the deck. So, there's the top tips, guys. There's the deck tech. Hope you really enjoyed that, and we shall now go and get into the games, and let's see how we can get on and show off some of the power of this really fun deck. See you guys there. Okay, guys, with all that, let's jump into some games. We're jumping into first Yoda Green. I think the Green Hero stuff is really underplayed at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see this kind of later game heroic deck. So we'll take the initiative. We're definitely trying to go faster than this Yoda, hopefully. Take him out nice and early. Nice turn 2 and turn 3. Our turn 1 isn't great, but I think we'll try it. Just Greedo isn't fantastic, but we'll see. And we'll claim here. Another blaster to go into the smuggle row here. Not bad. I think we'll definitely start with just 3 to base them. He'll most likely take the trade here. Oh, he's going to name a card. Wonder what he's going to name. Please don't name Shin Hearty. Power of the Dark Side, that's fine. We'll throw down Shin. And we'll definitely go for the Greedo trigger here. We'll go for the high roll. And we do get it, which is nice. So we'll take out C-3PO and we'll claim. Definitely not too worried about the regional governor. Doesn't seem particularly strong. Looks like Talzin's Assassin's a nice choice for our turn 4. I do like all these cards, probably like the P-38 the least, so we'll just start with 4 to base and get the Force online. The Village Defenders, that's nice, they can get killed by our Assassin, so we'll trigger and it goes through the shield because it's --. He's going to use Yoda to go looking for a card, but we have a lot of pressure on board right now, which is good in our favour. And I'm going to claim here. We'll get to get the Force back next round, which is nice. Power of the Dark Side is also nice to keep in the back pocket, so I think here we'll probably get rid of Uncle Owen. Don't think he's doing a ton right now. So I think we'll just start with 4 to base. Yeah, 4 to base. We just want to keep up the pressure here. Goes for Queel. I'm going to guess by playing Queel he doesn't have a removal. So I think here we will give -1 to the governor so it can't pop my shield. See, he run into the assassin there for 0. I guess he wants the Yoda trigger. He wants to make sure that's available to him. So I think we'll go 4 more to base, get the Force back. And then we'll probably deploy Talzin. Oh, he did spark a hope there, so we can deploy Yoda next turn. I think we'll make sure we're putting as much pressure on as possible. Go 5 to base, give Quill -1, not that it really matters, and throw down Karis. As you can see, we're really swarming out here. We've got massive control of the board. Yoda is on his way, which is a bit scary, but not too much of a problem, hopefully. We do have Power of the Dark Side if we need to as well. Obi-Wan. So I think here we will go 5 to Obi-Wan, give it -1. We get to break through it nice and early, and he doesn't draw the card from the trigger on Obi-Wan. He gets to go out the experience, use it to take out the Talzin's Assassin. Absolutely fine. I think here, because Yoda's probably on his way, I think I'm going to take out this because I'm going to try and catch him out with the Power of the Dark Side. I've got actions to waste, which is nice as well. We'll just go 2 to base. He's manipulated the top of his deck to go for a good flip. Yep, he gets a kill, but we'll immediately answer that with power. And we'll just throw down this guy. We don't need to deal the damage. And we'll pass. And as you can see, we're ahead on board. Lots of damage on base. Drawn some good cards here as well. Probably get rid of Shin, even though a 3 and a 4 is nice. I feel like I do want to throw down the Sun. So I think Shin's the least impactful here. Blue leader. Going to go in for Talzin, I'm guessing? Yes. Let's just go 3 to base. Another blue leader. Nice. Didn't get punished there, which is good. Don't need to deal 1 damage, and I think he'll just throw down the Sun. For maximum pressure, he's going to threaten lethal next turn. And we'll pass there. Can't do 2 cards here, sadly, so I think we'll get rid of an Anakin to keep all our options nice and open. Fell the dragon there onto the Sun, but I could go for a hot shot here, just keep the pressure up. I really just need to kill this guy before he gets back in control of this game. I think I should have it. Let's throw down Ki-Adi-Mundi. He claims. Another blaster there. We like to see that. Let's see what he's got. Maybe a home 1 into a Sentinel. It's quite a likely play, or Kelleran back into a Sentinel, but I think with the Assassin and Anakin we can probably break through. Ewing. We could even get multiple Sentinels here. This could be bad for us. So the modded cohort, I'll pass on that, nothing to kill. And then he's got nothing else, so we'll make sure Mundi gets a gun before he goes and just does 7 to base. Classic Ki-Adi-Mundi play. Okay, so yeah, as you saw, we got ahead there. We just kept the lead, and he didn't get to get any pressure on our base, and we caught the Yoda out with the power of the dark side by keeping his board clear. Bit of a textbook play there for the blue villains. Right, we'll go into the next game. Okay, so game 2, we are against Obi-Wan Blue Force, and we've got a nice little start here. We've got Krennic or a Sage into a power. We've got Dooku. Yeah, we're going to keep this for sure. P-38 is probably the least important, and then turn 1, we've got no Krennic follow-up, so I think we're going to go for the Secretive Sage start because we want to get the Force online. Krennic would be good if we had Owen or Greedo to do a follow-up play. But we don't in this situation, so I do think the Sage is better for the Force tag to get us online. So against Obi-Wan, he's going to try and put some experience counters around, make some chunky units. He's got a Sage. I'll answer with a Sage. We'll pass there. Shin's a nice draw off the top. So get rid of one of the powers here, I think, because we kind of want to keep this nice little curve going. Mundi was also a decision there. We could have resourced him, but I think this time we want to drop Shin. We could also look for a power of the dark side on his unit, but I feel like he'll probably still get ahead there. We'll go 2 to base and get our Force online. Goes for Gungi. We'll throw down Shin. He can give out an experience counter, make a big Gungi. Goes to the secretive actually. I'm going to claim him. No point in using the -1, there's no real good target. So this time we can go for power plus Greedo or just Tyrannus, so I think the warrior's going to hit the resources. There's no particularly nice trades here. Could start with the power, kind of makes his decisions a little bit awkward. I think I'd make rather him answer me though, so I think I'm just going to push for the base and go 4 to base with Shin. I think we're the aggressor in this matchup. He's probably got more value into his late game. He's also going to go to base, so we'll continue to go to base with the Secretive Sage. Ooh, the General's Blade is a horrible pickup here. I think in that case we will go for Tyrannus and we will shield up first and then trigger an ambush into there. Let's hope he doesn't have a follow-up play from the Blade, but if not, we can trade Shin into it next turn. It's kind of clean. So we'll claim here. He might have a 3-drop, 2-drop, 1-drop to follow up. Another experience that actually takes it up to 5 health now. That's scary. We could actually steal it here. That's pretty nice. And then our next unit would cost 2 less as well. Or we can just waylay it. That's also pretty good. I think either way we're probably not just playing Mundi this turn. So I think in this instance we are just going to steal it actually. So we'll take control for the turn. Not a bad use of the Liberated by Darkness there. Not a card that sees a lot of play. But does get some value in this deck for sure. Let's see how he's going to answer this. This obviously can trade into Obi-Wan, which I'm mainly looking to do. And then the General's Blade. I do think it is on here, yes. My next unit will cost 2 less, so we get to throw down an additional Greedo as a little bonus. I guess it's kind of awkward for him to play a big unit here because Gungi can just trade into it. Plus that's his own unit taking damage. He's probably not too happy about that. He's just going to take the base damage. I think I'll do the same. 4 to base with Tyrannus. Cheer it. He does have the Force, so he can reduce, which is a bit frustrating. But what I can do is I can give a unit -1. So now it only has effective total 6 health, even if he uses the Force. But he gives it experience. We can keep going back and forth. I think in that case I will... If he uses the Force on the 2... Yeah, I think Gungi's got to attack into this. And then I'll get all my abilities back, which is nice. Sadly, his Obi-Wan will get to flip here, but we can deal with that. We've still got our Talzin flip coming as well. We can do... Oh, he doesn't want to deploy Obi-Wan into this board, I guess, so we get to play down Greedo. We get to deploy Talzin. 3 to base. The minus doesn't matter, we'll just throw everything on base. I think we're massively far ahead, even though he gets his Gunji back. I think we'll just probably keep our 3s open. No hotshot blasters to smuggle here, sadly. Let's see what his opening play is. Potentially Gunji into Tyrannus. He might even have a Sentinel he can throw down, maybe an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Either the 3 cost or the 6 cost. He might just want to try and road block me this turn. He still has his flip available too. I don't see how he wriggles out of this one. I think we do have this one in the bag. We've got a nice big board presence. Yep, straight into the Tyrannus as expected. So I think we'll take our 3 to base with Greedo, and then we threaten lethal with Shin. If he takes out Shin, we've still got 2 more options to follow up. There's Obi, and that'll be GG with the Shin there. Remember to type GG to the guy. Well played. And we'll head into the next game.
Hello there.
Okay, another Force base here, this time Cal Kestis blue. Not seen too much of this, this will be interesting. I'll take initiative. Our turn 1 not looking great, just Owen, and he doesn't even have the Force, so I think we're going to mulligan this. Karis into Shin. Probably resource a P38. I might just resource both, to be honest. I don't hate that. They're one of the least favourite cards in the deck. They're a nice little curve filler. Get a space unit out there, it can ping and help you with Talzin. It feels better when you use it to finish off stuff. I'll claim here. The Loath Wolf is nice for him. But I will get to attack for 2 into it. I take 3 back, but I can kill it with my Force unit power from Mother Talzin. And obviously it can't attack because that's the Loath Wolf rule. Plays down Yoda, that's nice, he'll be able to get the Force next turn, he's got some restore. He'll start exhausting our units with Cal Kestis. The good thing is Karis can trade into Cal if it goes bad for him. Shin does threaten to kill Cal though, which is obviously he won't want to flip into that. Power plus Greedo, that seems like a nice little turn. We also have a hot shot if we want to do a different 3. So I think we'll resource the surprise strike here, doesn't seem too necessary. I'll probably kill Karis with Yoda. Because I don't have the Force right now as well. So I don't get to get the free kill, essentially. Yep, looks like that's what he's going for. I do want to threaten the Cal, but he gets to exhaust here if I don't, so I think in this instance I'll probably just kill the Yoda. It looks strange, but I now get to set up the power. Whatever he plays dies the power of the dark side or he flips Cal. Get to keep his board clear. Night Sister Warrior, not something I want to be using power of the dark side on sadly, but I think I have to. Because otherwise we're not doing a ton this turn. Still get to throw down Greedo though, which is nice. Get down Greedo. Cal's getting a heirloom lightsaber, so we get some restore. So I think here we could shrink it. We'll just shrink him, give him -1. It means that if he trades into Greedo, we do threaten a kill. Because he's not going to pass on his attack, I assume. He did though, so we'll see where that goes. We got surprise strike for Greedo, which is nice. Two Kiadis, not necessary. I think he really wants to keep his Cal around here, so he might have a potential removal for Shin Hati. Let's see. Chirrut, interesting. He does have the Force available to him right now, so realistically I can't stop the Chirrut from having an effective 7 health. So I think in that instance I'll surprise strike him. I'll get the Force back. Even if he uses the Force, it would die here. So he'll keep it for the exhaust. No reason to do anything else. He'll get his 5 to base with his restore. And I have to exhaust Greedo. We'll deploy Talzin. We'll get to start coming back here because obviously we can hotshot Blaster to kill Cal, so we'll do this, and on attack we shrink Cal to a 4-5, and then Talzin takes 4 back. Very, very nice. We've got a 5 and a 1, or a 6. Seems like a nice little play, so we'll resource Shin for now. The takedown, that's probably going to be most of his turn, which is good for us, so we'll just start getting damage on base finally. Obviously Cal was able to slow us down in the early game with his exhaust powers. Night Sister Warrior, we could kill that with Anakin, because we have a villainous card in our discard pile, or we can just go for Kiadi plus Owen. I think we'll kill, we'll keep our board wide. If I play these down, it just means that his Warrior can trade into Greedo first thing next turn. Speaking of a heroic card, there it is for the Anakin combo. I've not seen that yet. Unfortunately, we don't have a yellow card to discard to bamboozle yet, so we'll have to wait to draw into one, but we don't have another Anakin up anyway, so there's a Fel the Dragon. Plenty of removal coming out from our opponent. Get Greedo to base. Yoda, we'll throw down Owen. Throw down Kiadi, and we've got a nice board, and we're also threatening Coordinate. So we have a 4 and a 3 for the 7, or we can even discard to bamboozle here, so I think we'll keep all these. Let's see what he's going to do. Probably trade into the Greedo, I'd imagine. Get some restore. He's going to base, actually. So I think I'll go 3 to base with Greedo. I think he would have killed Kiadi if he could first. Exhaust Owen. 5 to base with Kiadi. Let's see where he's got a big unit to play. Maybe we can waylay it, or we can Talzin's Assassin. Potentially a big Luke. A Space Sentinel, interesting. So we'll play down the Assassin, we'll trigger and take it out. And we can still waylay his next play. Aha, so he played his second card, so as I said, Kiadi does sometimes get to trigger in this deck quite reliably. We have a lot of go wide stuff, so we get to draw 2 here. Very, very nice. I think here we will just waylay the Yoda. Stop the restore. You can just play it back out again, I guess. But we'll get initiative this way. Yep, we'll claim. Ooh, plenty of nice options here. I think Carrot's probably the least interesting at this point. I'd rather have the draw potential from the Warrior. So the only unit that can threaten to die is Greedo, so he's going in first. Definitely get into these later resources now where I want to be ending the game sooner rather than later, otherwise he may start to take back over. He doesn't have the force available to exhaust though. Aha, so he sticks down a Jedi lightsaber, so we can do our trick here. We can play Bamboozle, discard a Cunning card, exhaust Yoda, and put the lightsaber back in his hand. And we get to keep all our resources ready, and it just means next time we draw an Anakin, we now have a discard pile with the Bamboozling, so we'll get -6/-6, which is really nice. Place down another card, we get to trigger Kiadi again, going beautifully for us. So obviously with Jedi lightsaber, that hits for an effective 7, so we need to get Kiadi to attack now, or we can assassin it, and then it would hit for an effective 4, so I think in this instance we're just going to get 5 to base. We do have the Sun for a surprise finish as well, if we need to. 5 to base is interesting. We'll throw down the Sun, and now we threaten lethal with these 2 units. That's a total of 8 damage on the board. Or if he plays something, he exhausts a unit. So we can take 6 to base, or we can assume that he's got nothing left to do and then go 8 to base for the win. So let's try and see if that works. I'm going to claim here. I'm going to guess for 3 resources. He does not have an answer to the sun. Yep, there it is. So sometimes it's worth just taking initiative when you see these opportunities present themselves. So he managed to slow us down with his exhaust, but we ended up catching back up in the end and took over the board as usual, and Kiadi went crazy drawing his cards there. So we'll jump ahead into the next game.
Hello there.
This time we've got the Thrawn 4 with a Force base, the yellow variant, so he's probably looking to do some legacy run stuff and potentially play some nice tempo units like Shin Hati himself. So we've got a nice 2, but it all feels a little bit late after that, so I think we're going to mulligan here. So we've got 2 Krennic and 2 Warriors and 2 Suns, an interesting hand. So I think we'll probably get rid of 1 Krennic and 1 Sun, and then these are non-unique, so turn 2 could be Warrior. That's going to be hard to stop us getting the Force for the rest of the game, I think. Except obviously legacy run plays. Let's get Krennic down. He's playing Owen to go fish for his Force units. We'll pass. Oh, it is nice to keep a Bamboozle around though. Especially because Owen's going to negate this Power of the Dark Side. So I think I'm actually going to get rid of this for now. He's just going to kind of eat it up with Owen. So we'll stick with the plan of Warrior. Bit of a strange start, but we get to go wide. Don't want to get rid of my second Sun, as he's kind of my finisher for this deck. P38 will take off my shield, but that's okay because we'll still get R2 to base. And we'll play down a Warrior, and it costs 1 less from Krennic's reduction. And a second Warrior, and we'll pass. Nice, we get to get our Force online and play Tyrannus. I think he's not going to be playing many upgrades, and exhausting him is not going to be particularly valuable, so I think Bamboozle's gone for now, sadly. We haven't seen an Anakin yet, that would maybe change my decision. Oh, Chirrut's hard to get through. He has no way to get the Force though, so we can break through somewhat easily. I think we'll start by throwing a Warrior in there, because we need the Force. And of course we'll get to draw a card anyway, which is nice. And then we can use Tyrannus to ambush in, and then push 4 more to base. So we will shield up first, and then we'll ambush. And then we'll get our... We could kill Owen this turn, we could with our -1 ability. And then it opens the world up for potentially... But I don't want him to draw a ton of cards actually, I'd rather him trade it off. So we'll just pass through here, and of course we'll resource the Hotshot Blaster. Shame we're now drawing to the Anakin after getting rid of the Bamboozle in our resource row. Potentially we'll see another one this game. Definitely a match that in the sideboard I would bring in the Spark of Rebellion to make Anakin more consistent and strip out cards out his hands, such as the Legacy run, because that's what he's looking to do probably. He may trade Owen into Tyrannus here. Sneak attack, interesting. The Legacy run. So it's a good job we have Waylay available, otherwise that would get to deal 12 to all our units, so that's going to get waylaid. I don't fancy losing my whole board. We will start by doing -1 onto the space unit, because Talzin will get to finish it off on her on attack ability. We'll probably lose our Night Sister Warrior in the... probably actually direct to Krennic, but an acceptable loss, as Thrawn would say. We will deploy Mother Talzin, 4 to base. Oops, make sure we get Krennic's attack in first, and then 3 to base, give unit -1, P38. He gets to deal 1 damage and then double it up with Thrawn, so he'll probably take out Krennic sadly. But oh, he did 1 to his own Owen. I don't know if that's a misclick or he didn't double it up either. Interesting. Okay, we'll see where that ends up going. We'll resource the Karis because we are looking this turn to either go Kiadi or Anakin. We could have done Shin Karis, but I'd rather not go too wide. He potentially wants to play the Legacy run again this turn, maybe sneak attack again. Shien Flurry with no Force unit in his hand. I think this guy's done. Yep, that'll be the game. Let's throw a bonus game in there since that one seemed to go a bit wrong for our opponent.
Hello there.
Okay, going straight into a Darth Maul on 28 health base, so a Force deck. Quite similar to our deck really. He gets to ping twice, we get to give -1. but I think his flip's a little worse. It's 6 cost 5, 6 that pings twice rather than our 3, 7 that gives minus. So we get Karis turn 1 into maybe like double when defeated turn 2 or power, so I quite like this hand. Definitely going to go Karis turn 1. Could be power turn 2. I think Anakin's not sticking around, and I think Owen's the least important, so we'll do it that way. He has got the initiative here though, so he will get to get his force rolling first. Always an advantages for those force decks. Kylo Ren potentially going to play some lightsabers soon. Maybe Darth Maul's lightsaber. It's a nice card in that deck. Gives a ton of stats. +4, +2. But hopefully we can stop before it gets too big. We do have power to punish any upgrades he throws on Kylo. Easy resource choice as always. The Smuggle Blaster. We don't want to be paying 3 for just +2. We want to smuggle it out for 3 and +2 and attack. Open fire on our own unit there. Interesting. We could just respond with our own Power of the Dark Side, I guess. No force for him either. Don't need 2 Kiadis. Not now anyway. We have our 2 strong 4-drops, but sadly no force, so we'll just play down as a 4-3 shielded. Definitely resourcing a second blaster. Hopefully this turn we can get the force online, use the assassin, plus the Talzin -2, so effectively we can do -5 this turn because we go 4 to base. Oh no, it's only -4 because we don't have 2 lots of force here. If we had the force right now we could, but otherwise it's just -4. If he doesn't attack first though, he did, no punish there. We'll go 4 to base. I think we're the more aggressive deck here. The assassin gets a nice clean kill on the Jedi too. Let's see what else he's got to play. Maybe the devastating gunship, that's quite a good card in that deck with the grit. Or potentially Ogdo Bogdo. We like to play all that kind of stuff. There's the gunship, yep, as predicted. Luckily no targets this time. So we could use Talzin's assassin to kill the Jedi. We could use Talzin herself to kill the Jedi, or we can just throw down Ki-Adi-Mundi as a giant force unit. So I think in this instance I'm just going to give a unit -1. He'll claim. Oh, he went for the ping, interesting. We'll deploy Talzin. This actually opens up a new avenue to kill his devastating gunship because of that ping, so we might take that. We can go 3 into this guy, give a unit -1 in space, and then we use Talzin's assassin to trigger, and we've cleared his board. Exactly what this deck wants to be doing. So this turn it's looking like probably Ki-Adi, and then we've got a Bamboozle play to stop his Darth Maul, and then there we go down in card advantage. We're ready for Anakin when we draw him. So I think we'll go down that route. He might just flip out Maul here to try slam a lightsaber on him. We could also just kill Maul with a hotshot blaster. Talzin gets to give a -1, so that's effectively 6 damage into him. And we'd only take 4 back, we'd even live, which is crazy. They have to take down on Talzin though. Yep. So I think we will get down Ki-Adi, so if he wants to play another card, we get to draw 2 immediately. And then he deploys Maul, and we'll go for the Bamboozle, we'll discard and exhaust. You'll lose a lot of value there. And if he plays another card, he's kind of trapped by Ki-Adi. We get to draw 2 cards then, which we'll absolutely love if we get to do it. Our opponent having a little think here. Claims, yep, so we'll just push damage to base, get the force back. We could double trade, but I don't like that. I think we just got to keep going. A 4 plus a 2. This will be a 4 plus a 3 because of the smuggle, so we'll get rid of the Sage. Actually, the Sage is probably more useful than Krennic at this point, just to keep the force on the board. So he may well trade into a unit here, to near to base and do double ping. Yep, so I think in that instance, it's time for a hotshot blaster on Ki-Adi, really start putting the pressure on the base. Obviously 28 health bases are quite squishy compared to other ones. The Fang Fighter, okay, gets rid of my Nice upgrade there, but we'll keep pushing the damage to base. And there's the Kiadi trigger. We'd love to see it. Draw 2. So he's on 23. This will take us up to 27, and a Hotshot Blaster will take us to the magic number. Ba-boom! There it is. So there's just some quick games to the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you see the power of Talzin Yellow. A bit of a mix-up from the red we've seen in the past. The pump to win strategy is really, really strong in the yellow colours. Obviously, you got the surprise strikes, the hotshot blasters, and even the sun using the force to give your whole board to go wide and do tons of damage. So let us know in the comments, guys, if you'd make any changes to this deck or if you tried it out, had any success. Let us know if you want to see any decks in particular. Leave comments below. Engage with the channel, subscribe, like the video, and as always, keep it here for some more content. We'll be getting up our videos every Friday, and once again, we've got some more bonus content for you guys next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.